my name is Fabi from Florida Biz Connect, and I'm here with Osmanny from SecureNet MSP. And we're just going to have a little conversation about what you have to offer. For full transparency, me and Manny are married. We are both co-owners of SecureNet MSP. So this is going to be just a conversation about what you offer to our clients. And as a founding member of Florida Biz Connect, and he's also one of the directors, the director of technology, what you recommend for this technology landscape that's coming up.
Well, hi everybody. So SecureNet MSP is an IT support and management company. To put it simply, we are essentially the IT department of a company. Now, in some cases, we manage all IT operations, and in other cases, we work with our counterpart in the company. So it could be an IT manager. In some cases, it could be the owner acting as the IT manager. But as a whole, that's what our company offers. Anything that you would imagine an IT department would do, from managing, your web, your security, managing your technology, your computers, your employees, new hires, terminations, essentially anything that would require somebody hands-on experience with technology, with IT. That's what our company offers.
So just talking a little bit about your experience. So you've been in the business about 22 years.
Yep.
Before this, you worked for another MSP and you were a co-founder of that one as well. So what kind of experience do you have, especially now that you're doing software development? How does that working out?
So again, going back to the idea, that our company has been providing IT and technology services, that's a very, very general term. When we started back in 2003, at that time, companies were, or some companies were fairly new to technology. So they were using it to send emails. Some were already working on creating websites, storing their documents, printing, things like that. But as time has passed, vendors, software developers, they've been creating products that they believe companies would benefit from. Things like social media, web development, and software development, but to create your own custom applications. And so one of the things that I see nowadays and recommend companies when they start out is to look at their company and see how technology could help you out, how it could give you an advantage versus, in comparison to your competition. And it doesn't have to be in a negative way that you just want to, have more sales or do a better product. But sometimes your product itself may differ, right, based on the technology you use. We have some clients that, for example, they believe in providing excellent customer service, and one of those ways was the owner found was to make their employees very comfortable. So while other companies were giving employees, slow computers or very small monitors, this owner specifically requested that everybody had big monitors, 2 screens, very fast systems. They were always, new. Any problems that they would have, we would fix them right away, and that gave him an advantage. Customers were happier, and so therefore his business grew from less than 10 employees to over 100 employees. And it's not all because of the technology, but his differentiator, his vision, came to life because of the way he used technology, and we were there to support him and recommend what hardware to use, keep the costs down, not overcomplicate it as well. And so, yeah.
So most of the people in Florida Biz have companies, probably 5 users to some have 200 users.
Yeah.
What is the first thing that, as a business owner, if you owned any of these businesses, would you implement when it comes to technology?
So depending on the size of the company, I see that there's a big difference when a company passes 10 to 15 employees. And then there's another huge jump in the way you manage the technology when you go from 80 and up. And it could be 300, or there's another jump when you hit about 300. But So depending on which size your company is, I would say if you're under 10 or 15, I think you have to keep costs down. But at the same time, you have to be able to communicate with customers quickly. You have to automate as many things as possible. You want to keep your costs down because you do not have as many employees. But perhaps your competition may have 100 employees or 200 employees, and you with 10 or 15 have to compete against them.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I would recommend companies of that size. But companies that are bigger, between 15 and 80, they're at a point where they're right in the middle. That's actually a pretty good number, good size to be. You're small enough where you can make changes if you feel like your technology and the strategy you're taking or you're using is not adequate. You could change and pivot without it being too expensive. So I would recommend companies in that size to always try to take advantage that they are smaller and they could change, but make those changes effective. AI is a good example of what to implement for a company that size.
So I think most of our clients and most of the people in Florida Biz Connect, they're interested in either they are already hiring outsourced or they are thinking about hiring outsourced. What is one of the things that you recommend? I know kind of what you're gonna say.
Yeah.
But like, what would
I'm a bit biased.
Yeah. But what if I'm a lawyer that's wanting to bring in 2 outsourced employees from, let's say, Nicaragua or South America, what are the first steps that you would recommend for me to do?
So, and this again, it could be any size company, right? If you are planning on bringing an outsourced employee, you definitely want to first see if the applications that you're using, if they're accessible through a web browser. For example, when you check your emails, is it through the web or is it through a program or a server that's in your office? So that's probably question number 1. Do you have a server in the office? There's solutions for both, but it's just that if your software is in the cloud, it tends to be a bit easier. Because you don't have to worry about VPN connections or exposing your server in your office out to the internet. Now, there's ways of doing all this very safely. Many of our customers do have that. Again, it's just one thing to keep in mind. The other thing is what country you're going to hire them from. There are some countries, unfortunately, like Venezuela, that have blocks on their internet. And so the country you're planning to hire from, you should probably, even if you're interviewing this person, ask them to go to the site that you need them to go to and see if they're able to access it. That's another consideration. We've seen that in some cases where they hire somebody that they love and the person is from Venezuela, and that was the case, and they tried to access a government site here in Florida, and the site wasn't working.
Well, that's one of the things we offer in SecureNet is we help them be able to
overcome
overcome those things.
We were able to overcome that. In this case we used a VPN option within the browser, and it worked. So that worked.
Security wise and also monitoring, what do you recommend for?
So when it comes to monitoring, I mean, the programs that you're using tend to monitor the employees for you. They'll tell you, their performance, if they're working or not. You could also perhaps see a report or a log at any time and see, how they're working. There's also programs like Controlio.net. We love to use that program. It keeps track of what they're doing, but it doesn't take so much of screen. It could take screenshots, but that's not its main purpose. Its main purpose is to analyze the program that they're on, how often they're using it, how often they move the mouse, the keyboard, and then based on predetermined scores you've given to the programs that they're using, it tells you if they're being productive or not. So that's an easy way of keeping track of that if you don't have a program that does it for you. One thing that definitely helps is the computer that they're using and the internet connection that they're using. So one quick way of looking into that and testing their system is asking them to go to speedtest.net, run a speed test, and you want the upload and download to be above 40 or 50 megabit. And more importantly, the latency, you don't want it to be any higher than probably 40 or 80. Anything higher than that and you're going to have issues, especially with voice, because you're going to want them to be on the phone. It works very well, but only if the latency is usually below 40 or 50.
So then for, we've done staffing for employees, for clients, but what I've noticed as the operations in SecureNet is sometimes our clients don't have the person that is outsourced set up correctly, right? So we do offer that service, but how would you recommend for employers to get, if they're only going to get 1 or 2 outsourced employees, to set their employees up outsourced?
Technology-wise, right?
Yeah. Like computers. Right now we're going to have a Windows update soon, right? That we have to...
Windows 11, yep. In October, everybody's going to need to be in Windows 11.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what does that entail? Like, what is the big deal with that?
If you don't have someone to go to and ask these questions, I would recommend find out what computer they're using right now. You could ship this employee a computer. Sometimes that becomes very expensive.
When is the Windows 11 update?
In October.
Okay.
The requirement's October. So if it's an employee and some countries it's very expensive to ship something to them. I always recommend if you do like this person and you think they're going to be in it for a while and it's not a position that tends to have a high turnover, is to either have them buy a computer or you ship them a computer. But the point is you own the computer. This way you could remote connect to the computer as often as you want. You don't have to worry about them using a personal program that you may not want to be connected or with your company. Many times we've seen employees, it's their personal computer and they want to have...
You also know when they're moving around.
Yeah,
right?
that's exactly. The computer gets moved around. It is their personal system.
Yeah.
So the risk is higher. So sending them or having them buy a computer and then you setting it up, connecting remotely, it's great. If you one of the easiest way to connect remotely is using a program called Quick Assist. It comes with Microsoft, so you don't have to pay anything extra.
We're big Microsoft people because obviously we're
Yes.
resellers, so we're biased, but yeah.
And it's built in, it works great, very reliable. You get to see their screen. If they already are up and running and they have Teams, you could also share your screen on Teams and provide support that way.
For cybersecurity, what do you recommend?
So for cybersecurity side, this one's a bit tough because nowadays, especially with the landscape and how much threat is out there, you do need a lot of programs. But if I would recommend, if you again, we're biased, so if you do have Microsoft 365, get the Microsoft 365 Business Standard or Business Premium license. I'm sorry. That license is it's a bit expensive if you're used to the Exchange Online. It's about close to $30 per month per user, but it comes with endpoint protection. It comes with cloud protection. So anything that you're doing within the Microsoft infrastructure, for example, Teams, OneDrive, and Outlook, is protected. And it's not just protecting you against threats, because a lot of the threats that come nowadays, it's not just somebody trying to hack into your system or a virus. Those are more like brute force ways of getting in. What they're trying to do now is trick you, send you a phishing email, try to get your password and
yeah, some of them are really, really realistic. I get them all the time. Sometimes it really is hard for me to even see if it's fake or not, and I know what I'm doing.
I think one of their end goals is to get into your mailbox, right, and see and be part of your messages, and see the way you speak, the way you write, the way you communicate with your clients. And the reason why they do it is because once they find the moment in time where you are about to receive money or send money, they will intercept the message, they will act as the recipient, and they will change the wiring number or the account number.
Yeah, I told that story to someone in our cohort, and they kind of didn't believe me, but I was telling them, yeah, sometimes they will just for 2 or 3 years be silent. You won't even see that they're there. You won't hear from them. They won't send an email. You don't even know they're there. And suddenly, when they think it's the right time, they'll send an email, and you feel like you've been speaking to them this whole time. Sometimes they're even talking to you as if an employee from another company, just to get that relationship going. And then one day they'll ask you for something that doesn't seem out of the ordinary, and it's a fake person that's been working there for a year. So we've seen that, which was very scary.
And they're very smart at this, because in typically when I interview the affected employees, and I ask them, didn't you notice or did you see something weird happen in your computer? And they usually say yes, but it was months ago.
Yeah.
Right? And so they're seeing a strange message right now, but it's really hard for your mind to make the connection that, oh, I did get a weird email and I did click on a weird message 4 months ago, but nothing happened when I clicked on it. Everything seemed fine.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't fine. They got into your system. And so going back to the Microsoft 365 Business Premium license, it does have technology that tries to prevent that from happening. It has policies, like, for example, enforcing all mailboxes to have multi-factor authentication enabled, regardless of who it is, even if it's a user or an administrator, okay? And so that's, one of the best ways to protect yourself. And the Defender for Endpoint is important that it's licensed and added to the computer, because that's the one that will keep an eye on what's happening on the computer level.
So a lot of the people that I speak to, they still use Google Mail.
Yes.
So what do you recommend with that?
So with Google, it's a bit trickier. They do have a similar product under their Google Workspace. They call it Google Workspace, the comparison to Microsoft 365. And, with Google is a bit tougher because some of the default policies, security policies, are either too strict, where it literally makes no sense, or they're too lenient, and it makes it too easy for somebody to potentially get access to your account.
Got it.
So for Google, I would highly recommend to speak with someone that does have experience, because in almost every case I've seen, Google not be set up correctly, or potentially have some settings that are easy to bypass. So Google's a tough one. Microsoft, because they are the most popular platform for businesses to work with emails and files, they've gained more experience. So that's
awesome.
one of the things.
Well, this is one of many conversations we're going to have. If this is the first time you heard an IT guy speak this much, this is because their wife is making them talk. So we were going to have conversations every once in a while. Please let me know if there is a question that you have, and I could ask our IT pro. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you, everybody.